So it is 5 p.m. on Tuesday, June 28th, and I will call this special meeting of the Red Wing School Board to order. So remotely, we have myself and Nikki Buck, and at the high school, we have Pam Rowe, Jim Bryant, Jennifer Tift, Arlen Dierks, and Holly Tower. Did I get everybody? Yes. Okay. So we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so because this is a special meeting, we cannot change our agenda, and our topic for tonight is to select an interim superintendent. So I think the way we could start this is just to go through everybody, say who your top candidate was, and we'll see kind of how far apart we might be or how close together we might be, and have discussion from there. Does that sound okay?
Yep.
All right. So in no particular order, I'm going to go through you in the order that I see on my screen, which is probably different than everybody else. But Jennifer, I've got you first on my screen.
First of all, I just want to say that I really appreciated all three candidates. I think they were all strong candidates. Public schools could benefit from having any of them here as our interim superintendent. Having said that, I would choose Linda Lansfeld as my top candidate of the three that we interviewed yesterday for a variety of reasons. But number one, she had significant experience in education in all parts. As a teacher for over 13 years, her education and training, her principal experience, and then also having experience as an interim superintendent. I really felt that she had a willingness to dig in, learn, make change, a lot of energy that she could bring to the district. I like how she focused on trust, building relationships, and talking to the community. She, in a lot of her answers, talked about the importance of meeting with a variety of different stakeholders in the community, doing that often, and with a number of different groups. And her focus on high achievement and giving lots of specific examples of how she had done that previously were reasons that she stood above the others in my mind.
All right, thank you. Holly, I have you up next on my screen.
Thank you. I echo what Jennifer said, thanking the candidates for driving to Red Wing and for their participation. I'm going to make this very quick. My top candidate was Frank. Mr. Norton has exhibited tremendous leadership in Red Wing thus far, and we've trusted him thus far to lead us. And my heart warmed when he used phrases like team and we and district and the kids. And when he said they cleared out the library or half of the library during COVID to rotate the books. As a reading teacher, I just personally, that to me was stupendous. And so I go with Frank, not negatively against the other candidates at all. My heart just really, I could just picture little kids picking up books and trying to continue the learning. So the special ed experience that he's got, he can walk the talk. The running the construction for a new school and the referendum to get that new school built, I think is just the experience is invaluable. So my top candidate is Frank.
All right, thank you. Nikki, I have you next.
I would have to say my top candidate was Frank as well. Just because you can tell he has a passion that lies within special education. And to me, I think that's the mystery amongst, not just here, amongst the whole nation, is trying to figure out that piece and where to go about. I think that students trust him. He gained a lot of trust for advocating for them this winter during COVID. So I like that trust factor. So that's what I'm going to go with.
All right, thank you. Arlen, I have you next.
Thank you. Once again, I want to echo appreciation for all three candidates coming here for an interview. All of them are quality people that could do a great job for us. My top candidate was Stephen Jones. I liked his diversified background, the fact that he was in radio communications and stuff, and seems to stress communication on a lot of stuff. He's been operating levies. He's 2 for 2. I like the way he addressed me by name during the interview, and other people on our board took the time to do that. I think that's very personable in a very tight situation. He talked about the fact that he has studied our finances already, so he's been looking into what we've been doing here a little bit more. He mentioned, I believe, that he's only had 2 grievances in the time that he served as superintendent, and one was resolved real quickly. And right now, in our time of limited labor, people available for positions and stuff, I believe we need to do all we can for retention of our staff. And if we can communicate with our staff and do that without having to have them read everything that has to happen, I think that's a good quality. I also know that we need to work with retention of our students. He made a comment that through 13 years, there's $100,000 of revenue in a student. And I never thought of it that way, but I think that also says to me that he would be working on a good person to work on student retention and the importance of that. So that's where I put my top pick on, but I'm very pleased with all 3 candidates. So thank you.
Thank you. Tim, I have you next.
Who's next?
You.
I'm next?
Yes, you.
Thank you. So much palmy going on there. Yeah, I think we as a board picked 3 very good candidates to interview. The process of a week or 2 ago when we did that. It was a pleasure to meet a couple of them. We already know Mr. Norton a little bit. But my top choice for a couple of number of reasons is Stephen Jones. I like his business background. I like his diversity part, where all of a sudden a group of I believe it was Somalians moved in the community, and they jumped right on board to welcome them and to work with them. Like Arlen said, he was 2 for 2 in referendums, daily budget review. He's just leaving Little Falls because he's retiring. They actually asked him to stay on another year once he was going to retire. So I think that speaks volumes of that. I have a friend that's a very respected superintendent in the state of Minnesota, and since these names became public yesterday, I asked him today if he knew this person. He said he'd be a very good interim superintendent for us. Other than I called him Mr. Olson, I think that's about the worst thing of the whole thing I did, but he also talked about consistency and working with the public on COVID, and they didn't have people screaming and hollering at their meetings because they communicated. I like the idea that he looks at people retaining staff and how we can do that. The other thing that really struck me as interesting is they have in-house special ed. Who knows where we go down the road with costs and everything. That's something that we'll probably have some conversations about over time on that. And, he wasn't positive he'd continue to be our superintendent if we asked him to, but if he says A, B, and C isn't done, we need to do D, E, and F, he would certainly look at considering that. But again, the two other candidates, well appreciated their taking time, and I'll say, I did have trouble hearing Melinda a little bit, and I had to ask her to speak up, but other than that, her and Mr. Norton did a fine job too. Thank you.
Thank you. So Pam, I have you next.
Well, I'd like to just begin by saying how lucky we are that we have such 3 top candidates. They were all very passionate, energetic, and they clearly loved all the roles that they've played in education. So honestly, I don't think that we could go wrong with any of them. But what really struck out to me, and that's been resonating in my mind since we met yesterday at this time, is Mr. Jones said something to the effect of, are you looking to fill a seat, or are you looking to actually have somebody come in and do something? I mean, it's a year position. And when I think about, are we looking for a seat filler, or are we looking for someone who's going to do some work for us in the next year? And that got me thinking about what is the main things that we need to accomplish in the next year. And at the top of our list, I believe, would have to be the passing of a referendum. And so my top pick would be Mr. Jones. He's got many years of superintendent experience. He's led successful referendum in the past. And I believe that his demeanor, personality would really, even though he's coming in from Little Falls, I believe he would hit the ground running in terms of reaching out and doing what needs to be done in our community to communicate and build bridges. And so, that's really what resonated with me. So he would be my top pick.
Thank you. So I'm left. My top pick is Melinda Lansfeld. For me, the things that stood out, she also has gone through the experience of passing a referendum and one that was kind of a last chance deal. So I think she knows what needs to happen to make those go through or, to get all that information out there and all of the different groups that she talked about meeting with for that. I was also just really impressed with her knowledge of different things, especially some of the things that we're already doing, like the letters training. I was really interested in the bar system in addition to the PLCs. And for me, when we asked the questions about equity and eliminating opportunity gaps and things like that, I felt like she had the most specific answers. She's worked with Native American parent groups. She's worked with Hispanic family groups, with Reimagine Minnesota, hiring more staff of color, lots of things that we have expressed the desire to do. So for me, and some of the Pathways program that she talked about, I thought was very similar to, or had similarities to, like our Winger flight path. I just thought a lot of the things that we are already doing and that are part of our strategic plan, our educational plan, are things that she specifically talked about and mentioned and, has knowledge in those areas. So that's why she stood out to me. I felt like she just had the most specific answers, and she has experience as a superintendent, and the referendum. which I thought were those for me were the bigger issues. Of course, the referendum, but then also making sure that we're maintaining our strategic plan and our educational plan and moving forward with those things. So we're a little split. We've got 2 for Melinda, 2 for Frank, and 3 for Stephen. Yeah, not sure exactly where we want to go from here. I know it's ideal that we have consensus. So any thoughts?
I was just wondering, seeing that Mr. Jones, 3 of our board members are for Mr. Jones, I was wondering if just what, specifically Nikki, I'm wondering what your thoughts were on Mr. Jones, but if we could just, I don't know how to do this in a way that, I guess I just want to hear everyone else's thoughts.
I was incredibly offended. Mm-hmm.
Can you say more about that?
Just how he addressed different ethnicities and ways of life. Muslim isn't like an ethnicity. And just like, like just how he addressed it just wasn't very sincere. And I feel, and I've more than expressed before this even came up when everybody was talking about, Karsten, this is my fear. And I'm all alone. And I just, like I said, you asked and I'm going to say it. I was offended by him. And not just for the ethnicities, as a former special education student as well.
Okay, Holly, I have you next in the queue.
He had all of the buzzwords about special education, which I picked up on, as did the fellow board members. However, the buzzwords don't tell the full picture. So the phrasing of level 4 students don't belong in a building, to me, that's pretty stemmed in a system of exclusion. And when we talk about bringing families and kids together and we try to work with everybody, we don't exclude. And that was an exclusionary statement. And that was very problematic for me. Everybody belongs in the building. Sometimes things happen and IEP teams have to make a decision, but the IEP team's primary person is the parent. And he also made a statement about parents sometimes have to understand that things change. And working in special ed for 27 years, parents do understand things change. They understand better than anybody that things change. And so I felt that there was an automatic boundary put up between what a parent may want for their child and what the school may want for their child. In addition, I heard the phrasing similar to what Nikki represented, and the comparisons were, if you go back and listen to the interview or listen to the tape, the comparisons of groupings of people were insensitive. And he has a lot of experience business-wise. I understand that, and experience with, the union and contracts. I understand all that. However, when we start out an interview with, I don't have any issues, I had issues this morning getting out of bed. So like everybody has issues in a school system. Like you walk in the front door and the issues mount up. That doesn't mean that they are not solvable, but there are always issues in public education that somebody has to team up. And so to quantify that I didn't have any issues, to me was kind of alarming. So I would have to end there.
Pam, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, if we have two board members that have some pretty big red flags, and if we're building consensus, maybe we should focus on Arlen, Jim, and Pam, thinking about Mr. Norton or Ms. Lansfeld, instead of the other way around, because, it's hard to remove some of those large red flags, and their points are well taken. And like I said earlier, we have 3 excellent candidates, and so I just wanted to put that out there that maybe, in the dark here, we can,
There you go, Trace.
take a,
That's what I
maybe
hear.
take a turn of this conversation.
Jennifer, you're next.
I completely agree. I also have red flags about Mr. Jones, and just hearing what Nikki and Holly had to say, I think that would be great if we could consider the other 2 candidates.
Okay, Mr. Bryant?
Like we said, we have 3 good candidates. Everybody has faults. I get that. Superintendent's got to be a lot of things, not just a few, but got to wear a lot of hats. So, and this is an interim position. We may look at down the road to say, the interim person's fine because, we may want to open it up. Or the interim person may do the excellent person choice. We have some things, like Pam said, to do, more than just a referendum. In my eyes, we have other things we need to address here in the school. Attendance, meaning enrollment, other things going on, supervisory issues, we tabled some of that, we have security issues, we have this and that. So whoever comes in has got to hit the ground running. I know Mr. Jones comes with a lot of experience, but I'm not here to argue with people tonight and debate things. I think we can do. I do have a little bit. If you want to talk about red flags, I have red flags on Melinda than I do Frank. So I'd be fine with Frank if we decide to go that route. He's never been a superintendent of the 3. Mr. Jones has been a superintendent for a number of years, and Melinda Lansfeld, Ms. Lansfeld's been an interim for 1 or 2 years and did not get the final job at Stillwater when it was opened up. I'm fine. If you want to go with Mr. Norton, I don't have a problem with that too.
Sorry. All right, Mr. Dierks?
Yes, thank you. I was going to throw out one other idea, and I don't even know if it'd be productive, but one would be for everybody to list their second choice, and maybe that would build a consensus. But I'm really looking at this, I don't think we're going to really get a whole lot of difference by doing it, but if other people think it's a good idea, that's great. I do have comments who my second choice would be, and I do respect what Nikki and Holly have stated here. So I didn't pick up on that, and I'm sorry, and I thank you for pointing that out, so thank you. So I cannot really say it would be good for us if you feel that what I'm hearing from you two, I think it would be a very difficult situation using him here as our superintendent in the district. So I'm ready to go to my second choice, but I don't want to reveal it unless you want to go that route. If you just want to have people speak about different people, I'll do that when the time comes. Thank you.
I revealed mine. So
you want me to go ahead?
I think so, sure.
Actually, Frank was my second choice and rated right up there close to Mr. Jones. But one of the drawbacks is he has no superintendent experience. He is familiar with our district, which is a real plus on hitting the ground running a little bit here. but I don't know which direction we're really gonna have him go, although we know we got a referendum coming. Looking at resumes and stuff we had before, I had some reservations about Miss Lansfeld, and I'm just gonna leave it at that for now, so thank you.
Ms. Tower?
I just wanted to thank Ms. Rowe for your sincere switch around how to address this, which could have been kind of a deadlock. I really appreciate it, more than you know, and I think that speaks volumes about where we can lead the district in terms of compromise and communication and hearing from each other. And Arlen, I appreciate you acknowledging Nikki's and my statements as well. You don't know how warm that feels. And I really want to thank both of you for your leadership you just exhibited right now as board members.
All right, does anyone else want to share their second choice? I can, so Melinda Lansfeld was my first choice. Frank would be my second choice. Don't know if anybody else wants to pipe in with theirs. Oh, okay, I see people popping up in the queue. All right, Ms. Rowe, go ahead.
It's hard to say first, second, or third choices, but because I would agree with Arlen when he mentioned that, Mr. Norton brings a lot of depth, as does Ms. Lansfeld. They each have great skills, skill set, drive, but what would edge me out is Mr. Norton's he knows a lot of our community already, and I feel like that is, if you're gonna come in running, I think that will help him. Not that Ms. Lansfeld wouldn't be able to come in running, but I do think that gives Mr. Norton just a little bit of a leg up. And I would be very happy to have Mr. Norton on as our interim superintendent as well.
Okay, Ms. Tift?
Mr. Norton was also very close to the top in my mind. For everything Ms. Rose said, the fact that he has been in our buildings and has worked with our administrators and our teachers and the community, I think just will really help him if he becomes the interim superintendent. I also really appreciated his, I think Holly mentioned it, how it was about, his comments were about the kids and we and us and how we can move forward. And I just really appreciated his thinking about our community and kids first. And so I would be happy to have him as our interim superintendent.
And Jim and Holly, are you guys just still in the queue from before, or did I skip you? Okay. Sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Since I started this, I did pick up on some of the things Holly and Nikki did, so I'm glad they brought them up. I'm happy. Like I said, I think when I walked in the door here, I could have been happy with any three in my mind before hearing from others. Mr. Norton, he wants to be superintendent. I have no problem with him picking him tonight.
I just want to state that it was always known that I was not going to be here for long. I'm going to do my 4 years and then I'm going to go out, and the intentions is to help where I can. And I didn't realize how traumatic this experience has been for me. But I came in here trusting Karsten, and you all have witnessed in the last year, everything. I'm firmly believe that everything happens for a reason. I don't expect anybody, especially from Prairie Island, to come and willingly put themselves through this as we are all trying to heal. You know, it's an ongoing process. But I hope someday that we do get somebody, you know. But in the meantime, the whole goal was to get to be seen. And, you know, and I was very worried there in the transition of him leaving. And I really appreciate everybody's conversations. And I'm here to help educate too. You know, let's learn from me what's going on with our kids that are like me on the inside. You know, why did I have that? That's ADHD. You know, when you're frustrated, you hit a wall, and then we get angry, and then we shut down. And so what can we do? How can we help our students that are constantly in that area? You know, I'm just one adult on the outside here, you know, so this is an opportunity to learn, so that way when I do go, all of you can represent and speak up, and I don't have to worry about, you know, especially Indigenous issues not being seen. And as I said, like concurrent 24 years, you know, that's the evidence right there. So that from there we can move forward, and that affects everybody. And, you know, special education, those are my goals. And I really appreciate everybody tonight, because you just helped me build that bridge and heal that trauma and move one step closer of being able to trust the system, that it's good. It's not what it was made out to be for me and my people. So I really appreciate everything tonight, and it means probably more than a lot of people will know. So pidamiyaye.
All right. So it looks like we can maybe agree on a sort of consensus for Frank Norton, since he was first choice for two people and a close second for the rest of us. Does anybody have a problem with that? Does anyone want to make a motion that we offer the job to him? I think that kind of looks like where we're headed at this point, but okay. Ms. Tower, go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to enter into negotiations with Mr. Frank Norton as the interim superintendent for school year 22-23.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Tower, second by Mr. Bryant, to enter into negotiations with Frank Norton as interim superintendent for the 22-23 school year. Is there any other discussion? Okay, if there's no other discussion, I will do a roll call. So I will begin with Ms. Tift.
Aye.
Ms. Tower?
Aye.
Ms. Buck?
Aye.
Mr. Dirks?
Aye.
Mr. Bryant?
Aye.
Ms. Rowe?
Aye.
Okay, and chair votes aye, so that carries 7-0. And then I think that concludes our business, since that was the only item on our agenda, or is there more, Ms. Rowe?
I was just gonna say, the meeting on Thursday then.
Yep.
Will, Mr. Norton be aware that we will start negotiations with the team on Thursday?
Thank you.
In my emails to each of the candidates yesterday, just to remind them of the time, I did mention that meeting, so I will make sure to reiterate that again. And it was Thursday at 11 a.m.
Yes. And we'll be both in person at the district office. If he wants to come there, he can come there, I guess.
Yes, he's certainly invited to come in person if you'd like, otherwise virtually is fine as well.
Okay.
if we could find out what he chooses to do through Lisa or you, so we
Yep.
are aware.
Probably Lisa, I would assume. Lisa knows all. Okay, so if there's nothing else, then I think I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second,
You guys using that table?
Okay, who made the motion? I'm sorry. Mr. Bryant and Pam, did you second? Okay. Ms. Rowe, second. Okay, motion to adjourn by Mr. Bryant, second by Ms. Rowe. Ms. Tift,
Aye.
Ms. Tower,
Aye.
Ms. Buck,
Aye.
Mr. Dirks,
aye,
Mr. Bryant,
aye.
Ms. Rowe,
aye.
and chair votes aye. So we are adjourned at 5:36 p.m. Thank you all.
Bye now.
Good night.
All right, so we got to turn our notes in.